What's going on, guys? Just checking in now to see if we're live. It looks like we are live. And yeah, we got some good stream health here. So welcome everybody. It's Elio Trades back with a live episode of FUD TV. As usual, we're doing it, keeping it live here. I'm just gonna make sure that the chat is working, get some people up in the stream. Very nice to see you guys all on this lovely Sunday afternoon here, reporting from the West Coast here of the United States. Hope that wherever you guys are, you're having a lovely day. And we're just going to wait here. I'm going to get some confirmation here that this chat is working. And obviously, this is the fun part, not knowing if you're live, of course. Yes. Okay. So we got a live stream anyway. So we'll see if anyone pops in the stream. Right now, we are going to go over some weekly news here. We can see that the U.S. just passed the Cloud Act. So digging in here, we can see that the Cloud Act clarifying lawful overseas use of data, a contentious last-minute addition to the $1.3 trillion federal spending bill that would allow the U.S. government more access to Americans' data for law enforcement purposes, as well as foreign governments' access to U.S. companies' data on their own citizens. So we got a lot of data coming in here off of new legislation. We got a lot of stuff going on, guys. It's pretty interesting. We definitely want to make sure that we're bringing you what's going on, just you and me, but yeah, it does look like normally when we go live, we have a bunch of viewers. All right, we got 4, so we'll hang in here for a bit and see how this goes. How's it going, everybody? There wasn't a ton of news out this week, so we wanted to sort of recap some of the things that we'd already covered. Obviously, this Cloud Act is pretty interesting here. We see that this bill is covering, just allowing for more information to flow through to the U.S. government. Not really surprising, because obviously this crypto stuff really does kind of scare governments, as a lot of the reasons why people created cryptocurrencies was to sort of decentralize power. So it's not surprising. I'm sure we'll see a lot more stuff sort of in this vein of surveillance stuff that we do and don't know about that affects cryptocurrency holders. If you guys are new, what's going on, guys? Yo, what's good? Obviously, guys, I don't care if there's only 3 people here. I want to make sure I answer all your questions. Obviously, I get a lot of requests to go live, and it's not something I do very regularly, so I want to make sure I'm doing it and making myself available to answer your guys' questions. It's cool to be able to do it in the comment section, of course, but it's even cooler to be able to do it directly face-to-face here, and you guys can see if if I can hopefully answer anything that you guys want me to touch on, or we could dig into topics that we've already covered, which is always cool for me. So as you can see here, we have this Cloud Act is pretty interesting, not very surprising. Not really sure how much time I want to spend on this topic. It's sort of just more of the same. Antonopoulos sort of said the Cloud Act is far-reaching, privacy upending piece of legislation that will enable foreign police to collect and wiretap people's communications from U.S. companies without obtaining a U.S. warrant, allow for foreign nations to demand personal data in the United States. Wow, this is pretty negative stuff here from the man Antonopoulos. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Antonopoulos. He's a really great thought leader in the cryptocurrency space, has been around for a very long time. So privacy of personal data has been a key point of the founding ideas of cryptocurrency like Bitcoin. However, earlier this week, NSA whistleblower Edward Snowden said that he believed Bitcoin's public ledger was devastatingly public. Yeah, well, we all already knew that. I think that the thing that people get a little bit confused about is that people within Bitcoin or cryptocurrency Oh, I talked too fast and cut too fast. All right, cool. I appreciate the info, guys. I will make sure not to move as fast. I'm a little bit ADD here, so I can tend to move a little bit faster than is maybe normal. At any rate, I definitely enjoy getting these questions from you guys. Obviously, the whole point of the Bitcoin ledger is that, of course, it is publicly visible, and I think that's one of the things that people really get frustrated about when you hear all the accusations that Bitcoin is responsible for all these atrocities, or that people are trafficking drugs and all these horrible things with Bitcoin, and that's really the reason why these bad things are happening. The reality is that Bitcoin's ledger is so publicly visible that with good technology and with a little bit more understanding, governments can actually much more accurately enforce rules like anti-money laundering, anti-human trafficking, these things that, of course, I think a lot of people agree on. Like, we don't want our money going to fund terrorism or human trafficking. Obviously, that kind of a system, Bitcoin's system, lends itself to more supervision, not less, to be honest. Cash is a much less supervised system. It might be kind of cumbersome to transport cash around the world, but it's not impossible, and certainly people enjoy doing it. So I don't think that, when it comes to this stuff, Bitcoin's ledger. I personally don't use Bitcoin for privacy reasons. There's coins you can do for that. He cuts the shit and talks fast. I love it. Oh, you love it. Oh, sorry, Alex Crypto TV. My bad. You love the fast talk. Yeah, so I do like to cut the shit. I do like to talk fast. I don't like to talk. I feel like there's so much confusion in crypto. There's so much already to learn. There's so much information clouding your vision that to have more barriers in fluffy talk and indirect, like factless conversations that people can't get the information they need out of it. To me, I'm like, what's the point of being on YouTube? The point that the reason why I came on YouTube in the first place and started making this channel, obviously I'm shared with you guys that we have a team here, we have multiple projects in the space. YouTube was not our first project in the space, in this channel, but the reason why we started doing it was because of the staggering lack of good information, and how it felt like for some reason every time we knew something that was going on in the crypto world, nobody else seemed to, or it felt like it was a very unpopular opinion that we had even any information that went contrary to sort of the main headlines. Even sometimes the main headlines on Cointelegraph and CCN and these sort of crypto news outlets, we felt like there was just a lot of confusion. And so we tried to just make a show that would allow us to communicate some of the information that we knew and trying to make it simple and digestible. And we found that speed and snappiness and directness is really just the way to get people to understand kind of complex stuff, because it can be a lot of information. So if you don't make it quick and snappy, it can be really easy to get lost. Question: if governments regulate privacy coins such as PIVX, Monero, and NAV, will they become worthless or rise in value? So yeah, I think it's just a question of, you have to ask yourself, what would be the effect, right? How many retail investors are actually in Monero? How many is Monero, is Zcash, are PIVX, are these privacy coins, Verge, are these privacy coins valuable because they are being traded on the market? Are they valuable because they have hype? Are they valuable because people want to get rich off them? And that might be different, right? It might be a different answer for PIVX, for Monero, for NAV. In reality, the value of these privacy coins will spike due to their use by people who don't want to be tracked, who don't want to be seen, which is a growing and probably will always be a market, but it's very much so a sentiment that's growing. And I think that what you've seen is, whether it's charming or whether it's not charming, there is quite a bit of illicit activity going on with cryptocurrencies, and that people will continue to migrate towards those cryptos. Government regulation might have a short-term negative effect on privacy currencies, but I don't think it'll have a long-term effect, as they've been designed to not be affected by government. So it's kind of like they're, by design, are not really susceptible to this kind of stuff. So I really think that the privacy coin sector will continue to grow regardless of what the governments want. Obviously, if governments had their druthers, there would be no privacy coins because they'd be able to track everything. I don't see any reason why a government would want a privacy coin. So what's going on, E-Man? 2605. What's going on, everybody? Charles Trotter, Turbo Man, Alex Crypto TV. Thank you guys. We will continue to keep up the good work. We promise that every day we're in here in the lab. We're building some amazing stuff that we can't wait to show you. The time is not yet right for that, but we promise that we have some really amazing stuff, some passionate stuff that we're very passionate about. And beyond just giving you guys amazing news, we have other things that we're very passionate about. We're a bunch of builders over here. So we got some great stuff. Yes, smash up that like, guys. But I really appreciate just having this time to connect with you guys. I was looking back on the news from today, and I saw pretty much just tons of stuff that we had already covered, already talked about. But you know me, I like to keep it very snappy on the news. So if you guys wanted to talk more in depth about any of these topics, now is our chance. I really wanted to give this and start making myself and the communal wisdom here that we have here on the team more accessible, just like was our original goal in creating the channel in the first place, which is just to make more knowledge more accessible. And hopefully you guys can in turn educate me as well. Like I said, I don't purport to know everything. I love learning each and every day. So anyone who can help broaden my understanding of this blockchain and distributed ledger space is super happy for me. So I love coming and just chatting with you guys. Yes, privacy coins, very sexy to ignore. You guys know a lot about our sort of view on these things. We're very much so about adoption and the path to adoption. And that's why, as we cruise through some more news here, seeing things like Google making its own blockchain, very interesting stuff here. What do you guys think about Google coming into the blockchain space? What do you guys think? I'm very curious, because Google definitely, they could be doing a variety of things with it. They could be doing either they want to become the behemoth in the space where all of a sudden Google is trying to run all things blockchain. They're trying to store and transmit all kinds of information. Maybe they're using their data, their sort of distributed data storage. Maybe they're trying to act as a search framework, and all of a sudden right next to images you have, web images, blockchain. Who knows? Maybe Google just straight up becomes the best blockchain search engine as well. Would that surprise me at all? No, not at all. Obviously, I don't know if that's investable. I don't know if we're not going to be able to invest into Google's sort of blockchain service. But at the same time, it makes me think, what's the trajectory now for something like Nebulous, right? Who calls himself the Google blockchain. They have ex-Google employees, very well sort of. I even think they might have some investment from Google Ventures. I'll have to check into that. But at any rate, it's pretty interesting to see how this is all shaping up. And the more we have, Nebulous, exactly. Nebulous. Personally, I love Nebulous. The reason why I love Nebulous is because I think people's understanding of blockchain and its power is just so abstract right now. And the thing about the internet was, when did we start really loving the internet? It was when you could search and find things very easily, and then you could started streaming stuff, and then it was Facebook, YouTube videos, and it was just making things easy to find and easy to access. And so if Google or Nebulous or anyone does that for blockchain, I think it's going to have the same effect, which is, okay, we know now that we can do all these amazing things with blockchain and distributed ledgers, but how do we then how do we go through and access them? And I think that the search frameworks, just like it happened in the sort of centralized web with Google, I think the decentralized web revolution here is going to see a similar thing, right? Where maybe there's a million different platforms to build on, just kind of like in our modern web world, where you can build on WordPress, you can build on, all these different frameworks. But in the end, there's sort of these bridges between all those different projects, and that in this world has been Google. Maybe in the next world it's Nebulous. Maybe Google and Nebulous coexist. Who knows? But it's very hard to predict this. It's too far in the future. But it's very interesting to see Google foraying into blockchain. Obviously, if you've been following blockchain news, you know that they've been investing into this space since 2013 or something. So they're not surprised here. It's not like the people at Google are trembling in their boots and don't know what's going on. They've been knowing and they've been investing. And believe me, they've got bigger stacks of crypto than any of us. So I'm not worried about whether or not. I guess it's not a question of if Google comes into the game. It's a question of how they come into the game, how much they want of the game, how much they see themselves, and then where they see themselves participating. Google's been very good at giving us tools. They've been very much so a tool creator and a sort of platform of tools. And so I really like the way that they've gone about creating tools for commerce, and I'm very interested to see what their contribution rather is to the blockchain space, as I think it will be a significant one. But all of this is up in the air, as we said. They might just buy Nebulous, take them on squad, and have Hiterzoo and all of them come under the Google umbrella. Who knows? I guess you can't really buy Nebulous as a decentralized framework, but they would just get a bunch of the tokens. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see, guys. We'll see how Google's going to do it. SA, what's up, dude? What's up, guys? Yeah, they are much more than a search engine. Yeah, of course. So just to be clear, I'm not saying Nebulous is just a search engine. I'm saying that Nebulous is going to be the way you find and access all the utility on the blockchain. And so in doing that, they're a search engine, they're a bridge chain, they're interoperable, they're doing all the things that like Aeon, sorry, I was messing up, Aeon, because there is an Ion coin. They're doing everything that Aeon's doing. They're doing all the stuff that like all the interoperable chains are doing, but they're the only ones that I know. If you guys can name one, please let me know, that is really focused on search framework. And so it's the only real Google parallel that I've seen where it's like they're not just trying to interoperate and connect. They're trying to be that useful platform where you get all the benefits of interoperability with all the utility of making it super easy to find and utilize different things like smart contracts or different apps or functionality, just like we do with Google. So I think it's pretty interesting stuff, and I've become much more bullish on Nebulous as I learn more about it and start to feel like it is pretty unique in the space. A DEX. What is Nebulous? A DEX. No, Nebulous is a decentralized search framework. It's interoperable. It's a bridge chain. They will have a decentralized exchange sort of function through it, I'm sure, because that kind of follows hand in hand with interoperability. Like you need to have the ability to interoperate between chain functions, and part of those functions are transactions. So I think like a DEX, or the concept of a DEX, is maybe not required, but it seems pretty very closely associated with the mission and goals of Nebulous. So I'll have to check to see if they have an official DEX in their plans. Chance of buying into Google at its inception. Here's your chance. Yeah, I agree. I think it is quite a bit like buying into Google at its inception, but you have to understand when Google was created, there were at least 20 search engines, and it was not clear, very much so unclear what Google came out by being simpler, by being a few different things, but there wasn't a clear, nobody could have told you at the beginning of Google that this was going to be the winner. But over time, it won out due to simplicity, functionality, their algorithm. You can make a lot of different cases, minimalism, style. You can make a lot of cases as to why Google won out, but it's, again, so early that to say that we know how any of this is going to shake out is very unclear. So it's very much so asymmetrical investing that we're doing. No one can tell you exactly which bridge chain is going to be adopted. Obviously, it's a lot harder because bridge chains work to connect all the other chains. So that's kind of like, well, if you're just connecting all the other chains, then it's kind of, obviously once Nebulous has a ton of stuff built on it, it will be more than just a bridge chain, and I believe they'll allow for that. But at the same time, it's hard to say because it's going to be a matter of preference, style, trends. Big companies could push this ball in one direction or the other. What's up, bro? What's up, everybody? Crypto fam, FUD Nation. It's so amazing to be chatting and chilling with you guys. I'm going to be here as much as I can, obviously. Like I said, there was a lot of news this week. I didn't see tons of news today that I really thought was worth reporting. I think that we've seen so much news, so I want to make sure I'm hopping in and covering the news that happened this week, as there was a lot of it. How about another piece of news here? Bitcoin provides freedom, says new PBOC chief. Yi Gong. Can we get like a big Yi Gong little chant going on? Like, Yi Gong, Yi Gong, Yi Gong. This is our guy now, Yi Gong. He's the man's in China, the PBOC. He's literally revolutionizing a market that's been closed off mostly to the world for decades. And he's coming in and he's got his progressive views, and almost all of it is good for Bitcoin. Almost all of this is good for cryptocurrency because he's really just coming in here. What's going on? Gigi? Is that Gigi? Gigi Brazil? Hope I said that right. What's going on, everybody? Max West, Sonam, Brett. Shout out everybody. Turbo Man. Deep, Psychia, Hein Van Amalia. Shout out to all you guys. Thank you for rocking with me on this live broadcast. It's very, very fun for me to be doing this. We got 50 of us in the house. Shout out to all you guys. Thank you guys for spending some of your Sunday with us. Let me know whatever topics you want me to cover. Ontology. Thank you, brother. Thank you, Max West. Ontology. I could talk about ontology forever and ever and ever. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys. So here we go. We got Yi Gong in the building, and if you guys don't know about this man, he is one of the most progressive voices in the sort of Chinese bureaucracy as it pertains to currencies and open markets. He actually preaches a very pro-open market strategy. That's what he believes. It kind of echoes, gosh, China and their movements like remind me of pretty much what I associated with American ideologies over the past 20 years or so, or 30 years. Just open markets, better trade, less friction, environmentally friendly. God, China's really all about some really interesting stuff right now. And the fact that they're now opening the doors, not only to a digital currency, a currency that's being backed by their government, but they have this very progressive man as the head of the PBOC who's talking about a total open market for payments, $27 trillion in payments that can now it's a whole new market, essentially, that's been open to the global economy, whereas this market is right now controlled 100% by two players, Alibaba with Alipay and Tencent with Tencent Pay. So it's pretty interesting to see that we might be seeing essentially a paradigm shift in the world of Chinese currency, in the world of Chinese finance. Pretty amazing stuff. So I definitely wanted to chat about this. NEO does not seem to get liftoff. There are rumors of crypto market going to 5 trillion this year. I mean, that's where I had the market. I had the market before this crash of January and how bad it got. It was worse than, you know, it's taken a little longer than 2016 and 2017 to get up and running again. Obviously, 2014 was when the crash of Mt. Gox happened and the market was largely stagnant until 2016 when it really started getting its its momentum back. So it's the market happens in cycles. It took me a little bit longer, but would I say that 5 trillion is impossible for this year? No, I don't think so. Obviously, I'm pretty bullish. I think that you could tell by my channel I'm very bullish, so take that with a grain of salt. Not a financial advisor. Everything's just my opinion, of course, but I do think 5 trillion is possible. I think 2 to 4 trillion is more realistic. Anything over 1 trillion, and if you're making good moves right now, you'll be in the money. So, IHT Real Estate Protocol. Yes, E-Man, I think you've been bringing this one up to me a few times. I definitely owe it to you to do a more thorough investigation into IHT. I think I checked it out. It's tokenizing real estate assets, right? It's pretty much. Tron, yes, always Tron. Tron Dottie. That's what I do. Love me some Tron. Yeah, if you guys want to know, I'm increasing my position in Tron right now. I'm increasing a little. I've been accumulating some Tron. I was increasing as Tron moved from sort of 2 to 4 cents, but then once it hit this 5-cent mark, I kind of felt like it was not overextended, but in the short term overextended. I honestly think it'll be back to 10, 15 cents in the next couple months. But for right now, I saw it sort of going down the path of not quite making it to its. I just saw the trade volume sort of turning, so I wanted to make sure I wasn't trading against myself here and picking something at the top. But I am accumulating more Tron as we speak. Thank you. Yeah, I am accumulating Tron because I know that this coin is going to get back to its sort of 10 to 15 cent range. And when it does that, I want to be in the money. I don't want to be waiting from that point to be making another big move for me to be making good growth on my Tron stacks. I have quite a few bags, and I got sucked into. I got so excited by Tron, I kept putting more into the Tron bucket as it was getting all FOMO-y. So even though I started buying Tron at like 2 cents, I ended up, my average price got up to about like 8, 9 cents. And so I'm just bringing it back down to, hopefully closer to this 4 to 5 cent range. Banyan Network. I'll have to look into Banyan Network. I want to give you a more thorough, as you guys know, I'm pretty cautious. I try not to give you opinions that aren't well-founded, and that's just because there's too much noise out there right now in crypto. So if I don't have something good to say or something real to say, I try not to say anything at all. But yeah, what do I think about BNB? You guys, BNB is right now, whenever you see a chart here, I'm going to do this for you guys because this stuff is very important for you guys to know. It's always going to be tempting to buy something that has a chart that looks like this. It's always going to be tempting when you see a chart that looks like this. You're going, well, it's not coming down. It just keeps going up. Look at this. And now they got the Malta thing. And, if you're following Binance, you know that. And I'm sorry, guys, I'm not using Brave right now. I apologize. I should be using Brave. But the thing about a chart like this is it's not fully parabolic, right? It's not like we have so much growth that it's crazy. But it is quite a bit of dynamic upward growth, just, what was it? We were here on the 13th, we were down at $7, and now we're up here at 14. So, yeah, I mean, even just back here on the 20th, we were down here at under 10, and now we're up to 14. So, good 40% gain here, and we know what this is from. We know this is from the news that they moved to Malta, that things are more locked in. They're going to be announcing US dollar pairs. They're already the leading cryptocurrency exchange. There's a million reasons why you could already be investing in Binance and think that BNB is a phenomenal investment. However, timing, right? If we're going to talk about timing, do you want to invest in something after it's been the biggest gainer over the last of the top 50 coins? Do you want to invest in the one that's gone on the hottest streak over the last few weeks? Yeah, you do, because there's a lot of fundamentals. But do you want to invest right now? I don't know. Maybe I think Binance might fall back a little bit. Like, there was a lot of hype here, but what's really changed? Are they getting any more transactions than they were a week ago? I don't know. Have they launched their decentralized exchange? Have they launched any US dollar pairs? Like, separate news and hype from the sort of realities of how has this impacted your investment so far, right? Because in the end, these are companies. Binance is a company. And, or I guess it's not a company, it's a project, it's a service, it's a utility, it's a network. But right now it's a for-profit company, but soon they're going to have their decentralized and non-profit sort of setup. But again, I think Binance is great, and I think they'll continue to be great. I have some BNB, and I'll keep getting more stacks. But again, like with Stellar and their decentralized exchange and IBM with their payment system, there's going to be a lot of focus on this exchange world, and it's hard to say whether Binance is the rock star of the moment or the rock star of the future. Again, there's just a lot of a lot of uncertainty around which exchange is going to be the winner. But do I think Binance is a safe and probably going to continue to accrue value over the long term? Yeah, I do. Do I think that right now it's a good buy at $13, $14 after it's just shot up? I think it could get a little cheaper for me. I think the hype is a little bit, needs to simmer off. It needs to cool off. And as I'm seeing this chart, it looks like it's doing a little bit of a head and shoulders here. So we'll see how it does. We'll see how it progresses. I would wait a couple of days, maybe wait for this hype to settle down a little bit. I know we got some shout outs for Ontology. All right, so Origin Trail. Love Origin Trail. Haven't heard any updates necessarily about them in the last few days that would change my mind at all. Good project. All the supply chain cryptos are going to be great. It is a good barometer of the market, BNB coin. I'm also looking for, it's one of the only coins that's started to come back and try to hit its highs of January of BNB coin. So, exactly, it's doing a fib retracement, correct. Oh yeah, right now it is, true. Yeah, I wouldn't buy, you just have to fight against your urges to buy cryptos when they go up over 30, 40% in a day. It's like, yes, it could keep going to 100% and 200% and 300%, but it's like, the math or the probabilities or the odds would suggest that it won't. So in the end, what you want to do is understand the projects that you want to get into. Well, what I do is I understand the projects I want to get into and I time the market. So when the market takes a big dive and everything's bloody in the streets, like over the past few weeks, I've been doing liquidating whatever I can do to get money into the market during that time. I try to pour money into the market during like this March month was the ideal time. You know, February, March was a very ideal time to be accumulating, because then when you get a Binance spike and you've been accumulating down here at here, like if you've been accumulating Binance in this off time because you love Binance, well, guess what? You got to buy it in here at $7, you know, and yeah, I guess if $7 was about as low as it went. That's pretty good. Obviously, its all-time high here is $24, and look at that. Look at its Bitcoin comparative really spiking up. It's almost as high as it was. Wow. Bitcoin comparative really making a move here. So you can see that Binance coin is starting to do a little bit of a retracement in the very short term, but I expect it to definitely come back and reach these highs. Why wouldn't it? It's only gotten better, stronger, and proven its value point out more and more as time's gone on. So what's everyone's strat with trash? Cool. My girlfriend thinks you're good looking. Thank you. What about the key? Oh, the key's got some. The key had some serious news come out, or it's been making some movement. And here's the thing about the key. The key is very much so like a government project, or I feel like it's a government project out of China. Catherine Zhu, who's the CEO of the Key, is a very prominent CEO in China. She's one of the, if not the most prominent female entrepreneur in China. She's one of them. And so it's very interesting to see that she's become not only just a prominent entrepreneur, but now she's become a member of the Chinese government to some extent. She's now sitting on one of the ministries for Social Security. She's running a magazine. So whenever I see stuff like that, whenever I see words like that, or reports like that, rather, out of companies like the Key, which is dealing with ID regulation verification, like I don't care how you slice it, ID verification is a legislative, that's a government-esque sort of thing. Where do we get our ID? In America, we go to the DMV. We go to a government bureaucratic establishment to get our IDs sort of sorted out. So whenever I see little pumps like I've been seeing over the week here, as you see, like at the beginning of the week, it really pumped up here from 10 cents all the way up to almost 20 cents. Yeah, that was a great pump. So yeah, if you look back on the 19th of March, it literally doubled. It's been easing off here. Now it's down to about half that gain. But I always sort of look at the Key as this is a sleeping giant here, because what they're trying to do is validate identity in a place that has 2 billion people, you know? So if they are successful at implementing their technology and getting it adopted by big players in China, or even is syncing it in with the Chinese government, as it looks like they're trying to do here, well, that would mean that this is one of the bigger cryptocurrency projects in existence. So I'm always I'm very attentive to the movements on the Key project. And you better believe that it's not going to always make news, certainly not American English news, when there is some kind of deal or some kind of rumor or some kind of movement. Sometimes these little bull runs that you see here might be the result of news that doesn't quite make it to official news, but is actually happening. It's important. So I think with all of this stuff, when it comes to the key, I'm very much so, I'm trying to see the story behind the story, because I think that there is quite a bit going on with this project, especially knowing what I know about Catherine, the CEO, and knowing about what their sort of larger vision is. I think it's a very cool project that you should be watching for sure. Let's get back into these Q4's effect on the crypto market. Q4 is always good to the crypto market. Okay, let me catch up on some comments here. ONT, a good moment to buy, or airdrops will reduce the value? No, I don't think airdrops will reduce the value, but obviously, thank you, Francis. I don't think ontology is going to be reduced in value by the airdrops. I think what ontology is going to be reduced in value by is just the traditional simmering of hype. As you can see, we have here what I think is as useful of a crypto J-curve as you can see. We have this huge amount of hype when it hits the market. There's also the trading competition going on Binance when this happens, and we get prices over $3. You know, if you're trading your tokens that you bought for 20 cents for $3, it's a 15x gain immediately as it hits the market. That's pretty amazing. And we see it trying to, you know, make some little runs up, but it's in general is going down. It's deflating in its sort of market share. I mean, I would say that ontology will probably go under $1 in the next few weeks. I couldn't say that for sure. I'm hoping it will go under $1. If we get any more sort of deflation of the market, I could really see it hitting $1. I have been accumulating ontology because I personally am just so long-term bullish on it. I do believe ontology will be a $100 coin in the not too distant future. So yeah, I mean, to me, $1, $1.50, it doesn't matter terribly. But it is hard in the short term when you buy a coin for $1.50, maybe say buy a lot of the coin and then see it go down to $1. You're like, oh man, that doesn't feel good. So I would say I wouldn't be surprised if it goes down. I always pick out my positions in small chunks. That's an easy stress-free way for you guys. If you're worried about timing the market and getting the best return and making sure you get the right moment, well, stop worrying about it. Stop trying to be, you know, omnipotent and see the future. Just have strategy. Say, if I want to spend $1,000 on ontology, make your first buy $250. Then if you feel like you have a really amazing price, get $500, knowing that it could go even down a little more than that, and so save a little reserve to get those good prices. Obviously, in the ideal world, you're buying more as it goes lower. So if I buy $100 at one price and it goes lower, I want to buy $200 and then $400 and then $800, just because then you keep really pulling that price as low as you can get it, and it gives you the most return. But again, obviously, guys, don't stress yourself out on. Sorry, 1 second. Let me quickly grab this. Thank you so much, bro. I appreciate you. Thank you. Sorry, guys, that was just my lunch. Arriving here. You know me, I'm so deep in the charts, in the chats, and in this stuff. I don't have time to go feed myself. Icon. I love Icon, guys. I'm never gonna not love Icon. I really do think this project is great. And the thing that you need to know about Icon, and I think that this doesn't get talked about, is that they already have their adoption built in. All right, it's not like they're wondering who's gonna use Icon. Not iconic. So that's the thing I love about Icon, is that they have a whole consortium of very legitimate entities that are going to use their chain. So I think their biggest thing is figuring out interoperability right now, and they're on this sort of interoperability council with Wan Chain and Aeon. So yeah, their goal of hyperconnecting the world here, they're doing this thing called the loop chain. So the loop chain is essentially a network of networks, and what they're trying to do is take all these private, so when we say private blockchain, when you think of Neo, when you think of Stellar Lumen, when you think of Ethereum, these are, quote, public blockchains. Same with Bitcoin, right? Where the ledger is publicly visible, it's decentralized, there's voting, consensus, there's all these things that we put into place to essentially allow for total decentralization and for the, you know, for this revolution that we've seen, both economically and otherwise. So one of the things that is sort of challenged here, though, is that these private institutions like banks and security companies or insurance companies, medical companies, hospitals, etc., they don't want all their information public. What if I went to the hospital, right, and that transaction was there on the blockchain? Oh, Elliot needs some medicine or something. I don't want people knowing what medicine I need or what procedure I've had or when I went to the doctor. I don't want that. The doctor doesn't necessarily want everyone to see that about me. And there's just layers of privacy concerns now that are brought in. Like if I take out a life insurance policy or something, like what, that's not anyone else's business. So there's a layer of privacy concern here that is not addressable through just a public chain. So what Icon and a few other projects, Ontology is one of them as well, are trying to create a bunch of special purpose, very ad hoc, very specific chains for banks, insurance, universities, hospitals. And that's what I love about this project is that they're not saying, oh, we're gonna create another Ethereum, but it's gonna be here in Korea. It's not like that. It's not like same but different. They have a very specific mission to link these different organizations of private blockchains that they're already working with. Check it out. 26 Korean securities firms launched Korea Financial Investment Blockchain Consortium in 2016. This is the largest blockchain organization for a single industry. They ain't playing. So now they have, they're talking about how they're pushing these. They have their securities, insurance, banks, universities, and hospitals. Those are their main sort of segments. For that reason, any one of these particular segments, as we go over the Icon sort of charts here, and we're looking at their market cap. Sorry, guys. 1 second. Hello? Hey, dude, I'm in the middle of something. I gotta call you. Sorry about that. I was kind of rude to that person. Maybe that was my brother. Anyway, so market cap here is $1 billion. So if you're looking at a $1 billion market cap of something that is potentially going to be integral infrastructure for hospitals, banks, insurance companies, universities, securities firms, it's like you're talking about trillions and trillions of dollars of commerce, of economy. So do I care that what they're valued right now is 1 billion? I mean, to me, Icon, they could do a small fraction, a tiny fraction of what they've already got in the pipeline, and their value once they start linking these networks would be way higher than it is now. So to me, the understanding, oh no, he's an iPhone guy. Well, yeah, I'm an iPhone guy. Sorry, guys. But yeah, to me, understanding the fundamentals, the partnerships, the trajectory, the technology that's being built, and the purpose, right, and how they're going to be using it kind of dispels all these things. Obviously, Icon's been pumping like crazy too. So do I think it's a great time to buy Icon? Not really. I mean, it's a great time to buy Icon was right down here, right down here before all the news announcements. Here, let me see if I can get it on the month view. A great time to buy Icon would have been down right here at under $2. That would have been amazing. Wow. Because it's going to be back to what was it, $10, $15 or something, $10. But it's going to be back there. Icon is going to get back there because they haven't even started to do what they're talking about. $12. Yeah, it's going to get back to $12. I would have loved to pick it up at $2. I could see it getting way higher than $12 as well. Like I'm saying, their industries that they're targeting are tremendous, huge. So I mean, in the end, Icon's going to have to. It's gonna grow. Period. They've got the hometown. They're the hometown leader, much in the way that Neo is sort of really orchestrating a lot of the Chinese blockchain projects, and the on-chain group are helping orchestrate that. I think the Icon's going to start to fulfill a very similar role in the Korean blockchain world. EOS, too many coin supply. Nano. Neo might be better than EOS. Neblio, is it an Ethereum killer? No. Is Neblio an Ethereum killer? Nope. Will Neblio make money? Sure. Do I have Neblio? I have some. Do I have a tremendous amount of faith in the team? I think that's where I fall a little bit short. I don't really like the Neblio team. I want to see more actual accomplished people and more partnerships, more reasons why it's going to work. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I just want you guys to be clear. I never say never. In crypto, you can never say never. Do you know how many people made fun of Dogecoin and whatever? It's like you can make fun of these coins, but that's not you might miss the reason why they gain value. And so to me, it's not about saying what might never happen. It's just about trying to understand what's most likely to happen. So I'm never going to say, yeah, guys, this could never happen. This coin could never make it, because they could make it. They could decide to hire a new CEO, get some new code, do a PR campaign, make a good meme even, and they'd be back into the acceptance of some crypto community, and they could start making a run. So it's never say never, but at the same time, yeah, I don't know, and I don't have enough excitement about Neblio inside my bones. The year of the Doge. Yeah, so Stellar plus Swift. What? Oh, so the Hedera hash graph. This is some interesting stuff. If you guys don't know Hedera hash graph, let's check out some hash graph stuff and just go down this this rabbit hole for a second. Let's go down this rabbit hole. Hedera hash graph. So, oh, it doesn't want to give me their website. Oh, here it is. So, Hedera hash graph. Hello, future. So yeah, this is like one of the glitziest web pages I've seen. This is one of the cleanest, one of the easiest to read. Huge marketing budget here, and they're just doing some really interesting stuff. They've got their main guy, Lehman Baird, who's their, I guess, mathematician behind this, and he created the Gossip Protocol. Now, if you guys don't know what the Gossip Protocol is, let me see if I can get to this, make sure it's on. Yeah, so this is it. So the whole idea here is that when you have decentralization, the way that we accomplish making sure that people aren't cheating is through consensus. We have different forms of the network agreeing what is a valid transaction. These guys, Hedera Hash Graph, have come up with an entirely new form of that. They're calling it the Gossip Protocol. So the Gossip Protocol is it's kind of interesting. It's kind of like a total vote, right? Where the most decentralized way to have a cryptocurrency transaction be accepted onto the blockchain would be everybody votes. But let's say you have 1,000 miners, right? Like say on Bitcoin, right? Everybody votes. What that means is in true voting would mean that all the votes are sent to all the other miners, right? Because there's no central authority, right? There's no central body. They're all decentralized. So all the votes get sent to all the miners. Otherwise, how would we agree? So that's 1,000 votes being sent. But then in order to know who sent what vote, a receipt has to be sent back to acknowledge that the vote has been received. And that's another 1,000. So it's 1,000 times 1,000 for us all to get a vote to be sent to all the other machines. That's 1 million transactions. And then the receipt back makes it 1 billion transactions. So you can see rapidly how voting, truly decentralized voting from all the parties in a decentralized network becomes rapidly very cumbersome and can really slow down a network to a crawl. It just doesn't seem realistic to make a network that way. However, with this hash graph function, Hedera, what they've done is come up with a way where by adding a little more information to your vote, instead of voting, you have all the parties, all the entities communicate what they know. So they say, here's what I know. Here's what everything I know. And you tell it to a neighbor. So the Gossip Protocol works in a way where essentially instead of everybody talking to everybody picks a neighbor. As you can kind of see here on the left side here, you can see that there's every connection has one connection. Every part of this chart has one connection to another line, I guess. But what that's showing is that everybody's picking one neighbor, a neighbor to gossip to. And essentially they say, here's what I think about the world. And that gossiper or that voter in the consensus then gives their whole worldview to their neighbor. And in doing so, the network no longer needs them to vote because they've already given all the information that they would use to vote. So by talking about what they know, who they learned it from, and when, there's 3 components. It's what they know, who they learned it from, and when they learned it. And by having that information there, the Gossip Protocol no longer requires voting. It can take a total pure vote, a virtual vote across the entire network without having to actually cast those billion transactions. So you can see here how instead of 1 billion transactions, each is now 1 transaction. So it's 1,000 transactions for 1,000 votes. And then you can get truly decentralized voting that is fair, secure, and accurate. So I think that there's quite a bit of revolutionary stuff here. I mean, I'm not quite... Yeah, lost feed. Sorry, guys. Oh, the feed got lost. Okay, can you guys hear me now? Hear me now? You gonna hear me now? Can you hear me now? Thank you guys. My live chat rocks. You guys rock. You guys are literally rocking it right now. I can't believe it. I'm 69 people. Anyway, so is Stellar the biggest home run? So yeah, okay, guys, let's get some terms right here. Everybody likes to use terms like Moon, Lambo, Tron, not Tron. Sorry, that doesn't make sense. Everybody likes to use Moon, Lambo, and home run, slam dunk. Let's focus on what we're talking about. Stellar is already a top 10. It's already a top 10 currency. Very well might come to occupy one of the main roles in the entire currency game. Look at its difference, though, between Bitcoin and Stellar. If we look at the coin market cap, we can see that in the top 10 here, you know, Bitcoin's up here at 150 billion or so, and Stellar's here at about 5. So, you know, if it goes, if it goes about 30x, right, it would be the size of Bitcoin. So, you know, that would be, to me, hugely, hugely big a win. That would be a hugely win, you know, so bigly, as they would say. But in the end, would that make you more money than getting this random ICO that decides to go from 10 million to 100 million? You know, that would be only 10x, but if it goes from 10 million to, you know, 500 million, then all of a sudden you've made a 50x and you are making more money than you would on Stellar. Is it more likely that that ICO will last as long as Stellar? No. Like, obviously, Stellar's looking like it might be a currency in 100 years. Like, they've designed Stellar with inflation and other things. And by the way, it's not pure inflation, but there is some real inflation with Stellar. And it's that the reason is because they want it to be around in 100 years. They don't want it to die off. And if you don't have new coins being minted, then the supply will just gradually go down and down and down and down and down, and that might create an extreme rarity for your coin. But does that fulfill its purpose as a utility coin or the universal utility coin of the world? No, it doesn't. So $5 Stellar then at airdrop EOS. Dash is awesome. Yeah, if you have a time to buy a Dash masternode, then you did well. Obviously, getting Dash way before they announced the masternodes and having your Dash stack grow into a masternode, that's really the way to do it. But yeah, I think that in the end, you know, we have a Stellar will be huge, period. It will be one of the main cryptocurrencies, I believe. But does that mean it's going to make as much money as if you had just thrown your coins into an ICO that has a big breakout that was started off as a small cap? Obviously, it's much easier to grow your investment from $10 million cap than from a $5 billion cap. Just keep that in mind. Also keep that in mind when you're investing in Tron. You have to just understand how much is realistic. If Tron goes 10, 20, 30x, that would mean that it's 10, 20, 30 billion dollars. I think it's over $1 billion or $2 billion, yeah. Yeah, $3 billion. So yeah, if it goes 10, 20, 30x, we're talking about it getting, you know, 30, 60, $90 billion. It's not a small amount of money. So just always understand how big the ship is, and that lets you know how big the grain, understanding how big the boat is lets you know how big the change needs to be to make your gains. Does that mean that you would make less money than investing in other coins by investing in Stellar? No, because Stellar might be the only one that survives. You know, it's there. We don't know what the future holds, and Stellar is definitely long-term view. You know, Stellar has the potential to be around in 100 years and to accrue value the whole time. So I will give you one Satoshi. Just tell me what's in the bag. Yeah, I know you could lol at $9 billion Tron, but I don't know, man. It's not that crazy. It's going to happen, I think. So it's just a question of how soon. Dash is the best coin. Low market cap. Masternode's privacy. Interesting. That's certainly an opinion. VeChain, not a question mark. That is a fact, VeChain. Stellar is a very safe bet. Agreed. I don't think people understand the difference between million and billion. What's up, Francis James? How's it going, everybody? It's good to see you guys coming into the live chat. Really good to hang out with you guys. Of course, I don't always get to do this. I try to focus on making things a little more to the point, but it's always nice. So Nano's doing well. Positive view of Nano, but again, you know, Nano's trying to be a currency, and with things like Stellar in the world, I could see Nano having some applications. It's just going to be interesting to see with this new world of interoperability. It's no longer about one blockchain doing it all. Soon, blockchains could be very much so niched and specialized, and there could be the processing blockchain and the smart contracts chain, and so on and so forth. So it doesn't need to be so straightforward. as just there's one type of good chain, and that if, oh, because they're not doing everything that Stellar's doing, they're no longer a good chain, or because that Nano is being copied by Stellar, that it's going to go away. I think what's going to happen is interoperability is just going to allow for tons of options, just like we see on the web. How many ways are there to buy, a bottle of water online? There's a lot. So, I think we'll see a lot of similar solutions that won't necessarily, that they will be competitive, but they won't necessarily mean that the other ones aren't successful. Neo Moon, always Neo Moon. Thank you guys. I really appreciate you guys. I very much so started this channel with no idea about who would care about our babblings about cryptocurrency. So the fact that it benefits you guys means the world to us, and we're just gonna keep doing it. So thank you guys. Neo Moon, I think Neo is going to be a $1,000 coin this time next year. So you heard it from me. Obviously, no guarantees with that, but that's my feeling. So anything under $100 for Neo to me is just an amazing buy. I can't believe it's still there. Your food is getting cold. You're friggin' right. My food is getting cold, you guys. All right, guys. I absolutely love you guys. My food is getting actually pretty cold right now, so I'm going to go eat it. But I might pop back on in a few more minutes. So keep chatting, keep commenting. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll be sure to check back in with you guys maybe in a little bit. All 71 of you guys, it's super real. I can't believe I've got 70 of you guys in this chat. That's absolutely amazing. Hit those likes. I'll be back soon. It's been absolutely awesome. So I'm going to eat this food before it gets gross, and I'll see you guys very soon.